no show and tell. You can take the cell.
Hey everybody, welcome back. I do believe this is episode 4 of what I'm just gonna keep calling TTLG, Take This L Gaming, because it's kind of like my other thing, Take This L Tour, which is me making skits, making fun of people, as I do, because I'm trying to be funny. I don't know what day of quarantine this is at this point. It's April 8th that I'm recording this, so I think the last normal day that there was March 14th, so it's almost been an entire month at this point. But enough of that. No more dwelling on those shenanigans. No, today I am here to talk about, it's traveling really. Driving around, wrestling, because I'm not famous, maybe locally known at best. So nobody's paying for my travel, so I gotta drive. Which is fine, because I do drive quite a lot. Like, whenever I go down the road and stuff, usually I have somebody with me, be it Leo Kirby. Usually it's Leo Kirby. We generally get booked together a lot. We tend to wrestle each other a lot on different promotions a lot of the time, which is cool, because we do have good matches consistently, because, we've been training together for 2.5 years. But at the same time, we also really, really get sick of working each other. Because as you can imagine, even if it's good, you start to get bored, because you're not getting any better working the same person, because you always want to work somebody better than you, not somebody at your level, I guess. Like, that's how I feel about that. But anyway, back to the road. Road trips are always fun, because 2, 3, 4, sometimes 8 hours, which is always fun. I used to be a huge fan of Wawa, but pretty quickly I became an extreme lover of Sheetz, because once you fully understand that Sheetz sells burgers, and it's just like, for some reason, for me, that's a game changer. The fact that they sell burgers just immediately changed my entire pick. I don't even stop at Wawa on the road. One, there are fewer Wawas going around than there are Sheetz. Like, I don't even know if Wawa's even a regional thing, because it's like, you're in Virginia, there are Wawas. You leave Virginia, you pretty much won't see another Wawa till New Jersey, but you will see a lot of Sheetz. I even saw a sign in North Carolina explaining how there were 111 Sheetz in North Carolina. I was like, that's a lot of freaking Sheetz. Like, even after shows, like, usually do a show that night, finish, on the way back home, it might be 11 o'clock midnight before we're actually back on the road to drive 3 hours back home. Usually stop at Sheetz. I always get the same things, like burger, 2 patties, onions, big bucket of fries with boom boom sauce. It's my go-to every time. It's like my reward for myself, because throughout the week, I'm like strict dieting the whole time. I don't cheat or anything, but my reward for myself after a show, and pretty much my cheat meal for the week, is Sheetz. Because I don't know. I feel like I could probably like broaden my horizons and do something better than Sheetz for a cheat meal, but you know what? For some reason, I love it. Plus, it's just there, because I will pass at least 8 or 10 of them, like, by the time I actually get to where I'm going most of the times. Oh man, let's see. How many road stories? Any funny road stories? Any interesting road stories? Well, let's see. One time we were coming back from Northern Virginia, and there was this guy in a pickup truck in front of us, and I began growing concerned, because it was like 1 a.m. and the highway was his. And by that I mean, this dude was, there's 3 lanes. He was literally swerving left, middle, right. He's just going through each and every single lane. And I was like, either this guy is drunk or he's falling asleep. So for the following, 10 minutes, I had to sit there and tactically plan out when I was going to attempt to pass this man. And it was a whole process, because it's just like, there's a lot of reconnaissance involved in waiting to pass a drunk driver. Because I felt safer if I got by him than if I was riding behind him. Because if something happens to him while I'm behind him, I'm going to run into it. At least if I'm past him, I can pretend like I didn't know about it. I didn't see it. I don't have to stop for it. That's his problem, not mine. We're gone. But, although I do primarily travel with Leo Kirby, my favorite travel buddy, and by favorite, I mean it annoys the ever-loving hell out of me. But, clarify, I enjoy him. John Washington, he's my friend. I'm start off by saying he's my friend. But he might be the most aggravating road partner ever, because he's never on time. He'll tell you what time he's getting there. Maybe be an hour late. Say he'll be there in 5 minutes, and then screenshot you a picture of his navigation on his phone to send you to prove it, which I'm like halfway saying like, man, this probably isn't true, but that's the thing. But my favorite story with him was he actually got us this book, and it was for New York Championship Wrestling, which obviously was in New York, not the city part, not Manhattan or anything over there. It was on the western part of New York, which is actually really scenic and nice. It's just, since it was like snowy up there, it looked like the set of Fargo the entire time, because there was a 64-mile stretch where we were going down one straight road that ran through this weird series of towns called New Berlin. There was like South New Berlin, and North New Berlin. South New Berlin was abandoned. It looked like nobody lived there. There were just dilapidated buildings, and there were at least, I kid you not, like 24 cemeteries. There were like a lot of graveyards you kept passing by, and it's like, this is where all the people in New Berlin live. This is where they are. They're buried here. Anyway, to the point of the story, before we hit the road for this trip, this man asked me, whose car are we taking? And I was like, figure we'd probably take my Mazda. I mean, it's not that big, but, you know, it's like it fits 4 people. Because we had 2 other people riding with us, Nick Anarchy and Randy Lawson. They had them riding with us. He's like, okay. He's like, I thought you had a Buick or something. He's like, no, I don't, because prior to this, my mom would let me borrow her Buick to go to one show because it was kind of far. Because, you know, she's nice like that, and it's an SUV, so it's more comfortable to ride in for long trips than a 4-door sedan. But I digress. Day of, or like the night before, I let him know, like, oh, by the way, my mom just out of the blue texted me and said I could use the Buick if I want to drive to New York, because this is an 8.5-hour drive. And I tell him this, and he's like, okay, cool. But the following morning, the day of when we're supposed to be going, I found out why he asked what car we were taking, because I thought it was weird to begin with, because I felt like it probably didn't matter what car we were taking, really. This man pulled up in his rickety car with his girlfriend, and I was like, oh, hey, I guess she must be driving his car back to his house or something. Nope. And she got the car too. I was like, where's she going? Next thing I know, she's coming with us, and I'm looking at him like, dude, what the hell? You didn't tell anybody this. So now there are 5 people in this car instead of 4, and unless your vehicle specifically built to house more than 4 people, it's not comfortable at all. So the riding situation was, there were 3 people in the back, you know, 1 on either side and 1 in the middle, and 1 person up front. I was driving, so I was straight, but the 2 other people riding with us, Randy and Nick, were furious. We're just upset. Reasonably so, because an already long car ride just got made uncomfortable. My favorite part of that whole situation was, at one point, my man John asked, hey, at some point, like, I know we're switching out and stuff, but at some point, could I switch out into the front? The look and the gaze that we proceeded to give this man, this death stare, just looked this man through his soul and told him to go f*** himself. And yes, more than likely when I edited this, I bleeped it out, because I'm trying not to curse on here if I can. But making it matters even worse, we get there, we do the show, and on the way back, it's like pitch black, again, driving through the set of Fargo through New Berlin. We get to this weird crossroads, which is like some place where you summon demons at. And we look, and the entrance to New Berlin is like blocked by a bunch of cops and cop lights. And we're like, okay, so we got a detour. Like, I don't know where we are. It's freaking New York State. Not even the east side. It's the west side in the country. So I detour my nav. We end up at an intersection. There are cops there, too. They stop and ask us where we're going. I was like, we're going back to Virginia? Okay, just follow this road about 12 miles down and turn right, and you'll be back on the road. I'm like, okay. That's cool. That was really weird. I was like, did somebody get murdered in New Berlin? I mean, it has to happen a lot, right? Because, I mean, there's like a lot of graveyards and graves. I mean, if anything, at least they're prepared. But it's like, I don't know. Anyway, that's just one road story. I actually have a fair amount of road stories, but I'm trying to keep these episodes to about 10 to 12 minutes if I can. So I'm just going to leave it at that experience that long, arduous car ride to New York City. Well, not even New York City, country New York. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I did make the decision I'm gonna keep this series going. Even if nobody watches it, I'm still just gonna do it for my own, I wouldn't say benefit. I'm actually just enjoying doing it. It's just something to do. Occupy some time, especially now when, killing time is important. Because when I'm not working out or at work, I'm just kind of, I am playing video games, but I don't feel super productive when I'm doing that. I feel more productive doing this, so I'm gonna keep on doing it. Anyway, Sledge Gibson is gonna sign off now. Don't none of y'all go taking no L's from the coronavirus, you hear?